I tell people all the time, go look for the old school people that don't even know how to open an attachment in their email because they have been doing this for a long time and they know a lot of people. They know every corner of their area.
Welcome to The Real Deal, a commercial real estate investing podcast. I'm your host, Aman. There's a ton going on in the world right now, and much of it impacts real estate investors. The Real Deal podcast will take a look at what's happening and how it influences you as a real estate investor. Each episode is a 20-minute segment dedicated to distilling the day's most important news, so you can stay up to date on what's going on in the world and how it might affect the commercial real estate market.
Welcome back to another episode of the Cash Flow Capitalist Show. Today we have very special guest, Steffany Boldrini. Hey, Steph, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Aman. I appreciate it.
So, tell us in 30 seconds who you are. Introduce yourself.
I'm Steffany Boldrini, and I currently reside in California and have been investing in self-storage for the last 6 years.
So, why did you select self-storage? That's a little out of the way. Like many people, when they come real estate, there's like housing is the main first thing that hit people's mind.
Yeah.
Why self-storage?
Yeah, great question. First, my mentor was in retail, so I learned commercial first. So I think that's why I got into the commercial side of things. And then we all knew something was about to happen in the economy in 2018, 2019. We just didn't know when. And I was listening to podcasts throughout my education. And someone said that self-storage does well in good times and bad times. In good times, people buy more, keep more, and look less at their credit card bills. And in bad times, they downsize. So it's a lot cheaper to rent a storage than to have a bigger home. So that is why I decided to do self-storage. Plus, it's a whole lot easier to, kick people out if they don't pay. And in California, it's impossible to kick people out if they're in your home or your apartment complex.
So in California, for self-storage, if nobody's paying rent, can you just evict them out from the self-storage?
You need to follow procedures, but yeah, you can sell their items within a specific amount of time after you follow all the notifications and things like that.
Means it's easier than handling the people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Nice. And how did you even get into real estate? If you talk about it, what was the first step that, what were you doing before, if you can share with us?
Yeah, I was doing tech sales because I've been in Silicon Valley, since 2000. So I was working at startups and at some point started to invest, as an angel investor in some startups in the Bay Area. And I was dating somebody at the time that was a real estate investor. And it became very clear very quickly that real estate was a much better, safer, with higher returns and less risk form of investing, at least compared to angel investing. So I decided to learn everything that I could from him. And decided to do it full time, which, without having a property first, which in hindsight was not a wise idea. I do not recommend you quitting your job until you have at least, your living expenses paid for by your investments. And I have been doing ever since, and now have done my first syndication, and now going to do a development in California as well.
Nice. But why did you choose California?
Well, this is my first property in California because it is still self-storage, so it's not residential. And what you build here, it's almost the same cost as what you build in other states, but you get more in rent. So it's a lot easier to have a $15, $20 million property here versus that same property could be between $5 and 7, 8 in some other states, basically for the same price. So that is why California.
And isn't the land is also expensive in California to build it if you had to
Yeah,
build it?
yeah, it's a little more expensive, but you can still make better returns. Of course, you have to negotiate everything and find a good opportunity in a good location. So it really depends on what you find, but you can find decent priced land here.
But I've also noticed like there's so many big private equity companies who are buying in places like California or New York. And what are the markets are you targeting that people choose you over them? Or you maybe like different than them?
I think it takes having a really good broker, which it took me a long time to find one. So you really have to. I love the old school brokers, and I tell people all the time, go look for the old school people that don't even know how to open an attachment in their email because they have been doing this for a long time and they know a lot of people. They know every corner of their area. And they know who owns it, who's retiring, who passed away, and the family is selling the land, and so they can find better deals, in my opinion. At least it's been my experience. And they call you, they follow up via phone call, which is very refreshing for me. Sometimes we get so many emails, and it's difficult to follow up with everybody that sends you an email. But they call you, and you update them, and they update you, and
And it's get overwhelming with so many emails.
yeah, too many.
So, self storage investing, are you like raising the capital, finding the deals, or operations? What's your superpower in that?
Yeah, it depends on the deal. I own some, and I partner up with people that we split some ownership. And I've raised capital for other deals, and I also find deals. So I'm doing it all right now.
Mm. So, you are in every single place and still like working so hard for everything.
Yeah, yeah,
Nice,
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
And if I ask you, what kind of investors focus on self storage? Because I have seen mostly investors they prefer multifamily. To get a self storage, how do you find the investors first of all?
I also partner up with people sometimes. I partner up with people that have raised money for decades if I need to raise money by a certain period of time. So there are all kinds of partnerships, and I'm a firm believer in partnerships because that's how you grow faster. And so it really depends. You got to make a name for yourself, start capturing emails, working on your list, speaking at events, and building your brand and your list. And my friend that has been raising funds for a long time, he says people they like to diversify. So it's not necessarily someone that only does self storage investing. It's people that want to diversify, and they have done multifamily or industrial, and yeah, they just want to be in another asset class.
Okay, you just like diversifying your risks too. The same like if you talk about family offices, they also like invest in real estate, mutual funds, or
Yeah,
venture capital, stocks, and everything. But they want to diversify it.
yeah,
And if you talk about
exactly.
bonds, where you're getting 4 to 5% for rest of like 10 to 30 years, one or like even 1 month to 30 years, people still buy it. Why? Because people know that they want to like lower the risk, and some asset class they want to increase the risk.
Yeah,
It's a diversify. And I was listening to Ray Dalio. He mentioned the same thing. You want to make money, diversify your portfolio.
yeah. When you get to that level, these people, their biggest worry is maintaining their wealth and not losing it. So that's one of the strategies. Yeah,
And I was listening to some family office guy who's like, the first thing they wanted is to keep the wealth, not lose
yeah,
the wealth. You might
exactly.
not make money to them, just don't lose their wealth.
Yeah.
And what kind of tax benefits people can get from self storage? Because we know for multifamily, we understand that better. Like, cost segregation, we can do everything.
Yeah.
That even for carpet. But what kind of benefits we can get from self storage?
Well, it's kind of the same thing as they say if you turn the building upside down and whatever falls. So solar nowadays is very popular. A lot of firms have diversity and inclusion DESI, D something I that they must fulfill, and solar is part of that. It's part of the environmental DEI, I believe it is. So it depends on what people are looking for, and depreciation is just standard real estate depreciation that falls within the self storage category. So it depends on the opportunity and what we're putting there, if it's again with the solar or not, and everything else that falls if you turn the building upside down.
And you're building in California. I bet they might give you some sort of incentive for putting the
Yeah,
solar on it.
exactly. Exactly.
Nice. And if I ask you why self storage has been like getting so popular in the last 3 to 4 years, because in the past, like 20 years ago, nobody knew much about it. Now people say that, oh, I met many big investors who wants to just buy the self storage. In last 3 to 4 years, that's become like really really popular. Why so?
Well, because of social media and online everything, people are learning about things quicker, of course. So now they know that storage does well in good and bad economic, or has done well in the past, in good and bad economic times. So I think that's one of the biggest incentives there, at least for me, it is. So, and but it's not to say that multifamily is not a good investment. Industrial is extremely hot right now as well. So I think people are just getting more educated quicker, and they know the benefits of each asset class a lot quicker than before.
And there are not also there are also like not so many books in self storage either. There are only like one or two. How
Well, there
people?
are a few, a handful, or five
I
to
mean, like
ten.
as respect of on a multifamily or
Yeah,
traditional real
compared to
estate. Yeah,
multifamily. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
or traditional real estate. There are not like so many. I How do like people can get educate about self storage if somebody wants to invest? They want to learn more about it.
Talking from personal experience, the first thing I would do is go to conferences that are within that asset class. That's the number one thing. You get to meet people, you get to know the vendors, and start building your network. Then I would take a class, in person class of analyzing self storage, get to meet more people and build your network even more. And then potentially join a mastermind in the asset class that you're in, and continue building the partnerships and relationships throughout all of these. And of course, as I always say, you have to follow up, follow up, follow up. Um, I personally don't know how people don't use business cards, because that's how I put on my Excel spreadsheet. And then I tag everybody based on what I need. And then based on what they do. And then if I need something, I would just look at my spreadsheet and reach out to that person. And I know a lot of people nowadays, they're sharing information on their phones, but I think it gets lost in the thousands of contacts we have on our phones. And how are you going to reach out to that person if you don't know who it is or what they do or what they specialize on? So that's another thing that I do. Continue building the relationship. It does take years sometimes, but that's just our job.
But I also noticed like every time when I had business cards, people had those hi hello apps. But when
Yeah,
I had
exactly.
apps, people have business cards. I'm like, what is happening? How you guys just like sworn enemies to do everything what I'm doing, like opposite of doing what I'm doing? So I'm nowadays just keep both of it. You have business card, I can give business card. So I have noticed that like in the last 1 or 2 years that the shift has like bringing in the market about the online business cards.
Yeah, it definitely is there. But, for myself, I prefer to put it in an Excel spreadsheet so that I know who does what, where they live. When I go to another city, I look at my spreadsheet and look for people who are in that area. If I'm traveling, let's say to Orlando, I'll reach out to everybody that I have met before that lives in Orlando and say, hey, I'm in town, want to meet. And that is how I continue building the relationship.
Nice, nice. That's a great strategy, though. And like in multifamily, we have rent roll and T12. What kind of financials are we seeing in self storage? Do you have the same T12 of
Yeah.
or rent roll? Is it like
Yeah.
how's the underwriting work in that side?
Yeah, underwriting very similar. Look at the income and what else you can you increase rent and decrease costs, and can you build more? So very similar to multifamily, I'm sure. And you're looking at the properties, nearby properties, to see if this particular property, their rents are below market. And can you add more revenue streams, such as tenant insurance and things like that, or cut costs? Can you move to entirely remote and cut an employee or even a part-time employee? So those are the things that we look for.
And what are the other like things you can do to increase the revenue? Like, what can you also install? Like extra RV parking if you have extra land, or you can build more. What are
Yeah.
the other like new ideas we can bring to the market?
So it all depends on what the market needs, right? So I'll give you the example of the development that we're doing right now. There aren't too many climate controlled units in that area. So we're going to be building most of the units are going to be climate controlled. And then for RV parking, also depends. Are all the other facilities not even offering? Are they fully occupied from RV parking? And how much are they charging for RV parking? Is it worth to take, 2, 3, 4 storage spaces and put an RV parking there? Or should we just keep having the units there? So it really depends on the location. Is it near the freeway? What's the competition like, and their costs, and are they fully occupied or not? It really depends.
And if somebody has to pick the right location, what's the right location? Like,
I'm sorry.
if somebody has to pick the right location for self storage, what are the right locations that you prefer for the self storage? Like, it should be like next to the freeway. Should be like next to like other apartment buildings. How do you pick the right location?
Well, one of the pieces of land that we're looking at is near a freeway exit, so that will be great for RV parking. But it doesn't necessarily have to be, because today people are willing to drive a little bit more for their facility than before. So they're willing to drive a little bit further. So the location is not top priority like it would be in retail. Um, and it really depends on your strategy. For me, I like places that don't snow. I like the Sun Belt, and I like right now we're not going to be looking in Texas and Florida because the insurance is it's killing deals right now over there, and in a few other areas in the Sun Belt. So that's another reason why looking in California is interesting today. So you have to adjust over time and understand what is important to you. Should you be close to your facility? My mentor always said you should be within a 2-hour driving distance from your investments. So it really depends what's important to you.
But isn't there in California too many insurance companies are also leaving? I think State
Too
Farm
many
left.
people are leaving?
Like state insurance companies.
They are, but the prices are still very good here for insurance. I think they're mostly leaving for residential, as far as I understand.
Mm, but not for self storage. No, commercial is still good.
Yeah.
Nice, nice. And what are the like biggest challenges that you actually face if somebody wants to invest in self storage when you have to find the deals, and when there's like a lot of competition that we saw in last 2 years? One of the like one or two challenges or opportunities that you had to face in last 2 years.
Well, finding the deals have been very difficult when people are buying at 5.5, 6% or less cap rates. I know multifamilies was even worse. But 2024, I think, will be a fantastic year to buy. We are already seeing cap rates go up, and some people have loans due, as it's really happening so badly in some multifamily properties. My heart goes out to everybody. So there will be more opportunities, I believe, in 2024. as more and more loans are due. Um, Probably less in self storage than multifamily and office. Obviously, office is very bad right now, but I still think that there will be more opportunities. And of course, the Fed also just announced that they're going to start decreasing rates in 2024 and 2025. So you will get an automatic free money there because the cap rates will start compressing again.
But I don't think so. We're gonna see the interest rate up to like 3%, what we saw in like 2021. I think we're gonna see something like around 4.5, 4.5 to 5.
Well, it's better than the eight that we're seeing right now.
Yeah, yeah, it's better than the 8, and I'm like that's for sure. But like 8%, that's way too crazy. But people are still like 4.5 or 5% is still lower than the rest of the history that we had. But I expect that that's the lowest as we gonna see in 1 or 2 years. But they're also saying Feds are trying to bring some sort of like recession to stop the economy. The way because economy is still growing very fast, and people cannot pace up to it. There's a still high demand. There's still low supply. So what do you want to say about it?
Yeah, prices are still extremely high. Inflation is there. I don't care how the government sees it or what numbers they look at. I know, the people are having a hard time. So we'll have to see what happens when they start decreasing rates and what's the incentive there.
And can you share us with your like any success story of your self storage deal from closing to exit?
I don't like exiting, so I haven't exited anything yet.
Mhm. So you like to hold.
um, mhm.
Nice.
So yeah, the goal is to keep all properties except some mistake that I've made in when I was starting to purchase some car washes. That one I'm open to exiting or converting to something else. So I think the success there has been buying right. So I managed to negotiate a really good price from the beginning. So even though the income has on the car wash has decreased significantly, we can still afford the things because of the purchase price. And a lot of very successful real estate investors say you make money when you buy, and that is very true, especially when things go wrong, right? You have a huge buffer there.
Mhm.
So I think if you can, negotiate some special terms or better price, that is always a very good idea.
You were in the car wash too. I didn't know that because I think Bronson is also trying to like get into car wash too. They also have a fund for the car wash.
Yeah. More power to whoever wants to deal with everything that comes with car washes.
Yeah, but nowadays it's all getting automated or like automated, and people don't have to hire anybody else. It just go inside and everything. There's not even hand wash available anymore in the like even in LA. Like there are many places they're removing all the employees just to have everything auto wash.
Yeah. I never that was another that was the mistake that I made. I bought some car washes without even going to a conference or getting to know people or even asking somebody that owns a car wash how difficult it is to manage it. So
Mm.
that is why I tell people to go meet people, go talk to people, and really get to know the asset class really well before making any decisions. But it's good to do, of course, with your own money at first because you make all the mistake or as many mistakes as possible in the beginning with your own money, and so you're not, putting investors' money at higher risk.
So before we wrap this up, I have like three more questions.
Sure.
So what advice do you want to give to somebody else who's starting new in real estate or self storage?
It depends on their age. So I would say people in their 20s, maybe 30s, I would tell them to go work at a commercial real estate firm. And not only do you get to learn everything about that asset class, you learn the lingo, you get to meet the people, and you have mentors for free. And also, you get first dibs on all of the deals. You will know when you have a fantastic deal that somebody wants to sell, and you can be the buyer of that deal. So, that is what I would recommend people starting out.
And you can also learn how big private equities build the relationships.
Yeah. Or in my case, I'm talking about joining a brokerage firm. So being a sales agent or a buyer's agent for a commercial property of whatever asset class you want to work with.
And what's your morning routine as an entrepreneur? Since you also came from tech sales.
Yeah, I work out in the morning and I make a 30 ingredient smoothie and then I get to work.
Nice. 13 ingredients. And what message do you want to give to the world if today is the last day on this planet for you?
Oh, that is a good question. Good has won. Be kind to one another,
Mm,
and we must unite.
nice. That's a beautiful answer. And if somebody has to reach out to you, where can they reach out to you?
They can reach out to through our website, montecarlorei.com, or LinkedIn, or my email is Steff, Steff, at montecarlorei.com.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Steph, and thank you for your time. And I'll make sure I put every single detail in the show notes. And thank you so much. I really appreciate the time.
Thank you so much, Aman. That was fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on The Real Deal, a commercial real estate investing podcast, the show that covers everything to do with multifamily real estate investing to help you become an expert in your real estate ventures. We're here to help you create passive income and financial freedom so that you can achieve what you want whenever you want. We'll catch you next time on The Real Deal.